But yeah, Smosh is great because I started getting back into it after they started doing their Try Not to Laugh videos. Have you seen them?
Those are the only things I actually watched of Smosh after like Smosh was done.
Yeah, and so that's what got me into
But
it too.
they were funny.
Oh, they're
Some of them
so
were trying
hilarious.
too hard,
Oh,
but
yeah.
overall they were funny.
Yeah, there's good ones and bad ones, and the thing is they're all very self-aware of that.
Yeah.
And I've come to know the additional characters. So there's a guy on there named Shane.
Yeah, he's one of the funnier ones
He
that I've seen.
is me. He looks
Yeah.
like me
Yeah.
and has the same personality as me, except
He
has
does.
a actual deeper voice, which I am jealous of. But
Nah, you need levels. You can't just. Everybody can't be Mike Rowe, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, or James Earl Jones, Mufasa.
Oh yeah. Or what's his name? Darth Vader. Is that also James
That's
Earl?
also James Earl Jones. Yeah,
I was like, this is gonna be the same guy, isn't it?
same friggin' guy. Yep.
But yeah, I when I first saw him, I was like, kind of looks like me. Okay, and I'm like, I feel like he's me from another timeline.
I
If
could
I
see
would have
that.
stuck with acting,
Yeah.
I could have gone down a similar road to him because he was on iCarly, which
Mm-hmm.
they make a joke about. He was on, did like some short films. He was on the show So Random, which was a spin-off of Sunny with a Chance on Disney Channel, which was Disney's kind of like kids. It was Disney's version of all that, basically. But like
okay.
in like 2011 era,
But without the problems.
without the Dan Schneider problems.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
that other
guy, Brian
Disney
Peck.
had their own problems, but
They did. That's true. That's
I
true.
mean, all the kids stuff had their own problems. But
Ask Demi Lovato.
ask any of them.
Yeah.
Jeanette
True.
McCurdy, she's the one.
Ask Jeanette McCurdy for sure. But that was
Have you read her
Nickelodeon.
book? I'm glad my mom died.
No, but I've gotten the gist of
It's good.
like people talking about
It's
it.
pretty good.
Yeah, no, I believe it. I believe it.
And the documentary Quiet on Set is that's
It's
rough.
deeply upsetting.
I mean, the thing is, I knew that Dan Schneider was a problem for a while.
The worst part, in my opinion, is how hard you and I tried to get on a Nickelodeon show. And I'm glad we did. We dodged the bullet there, dude.
I
did.
I am glad because I
Although
feel like,
I did almost get one though, and I don't
Yeah.
think it was a Dan Schneider show. I was almost part of Big Time Rush.
oh yeah,
I was
forgot.
this close to Big Time Rush, but I was an idiot. I didn't know they were giving me a call back, and I just didn't respond.
Oh yeah, you're an idiot.
I'm an idiot, dude. I could have been in Big Time
Hey,
Rush.
they're coming back.
I'm
they're
sure.
touring again.
I will never see them. I will never go out of spite for my own stupidity.
Oh,
And also,
that could have been you.
Yeah, and also, it could have been me. I also never particularly liked the music, but if I was in it, I would have liked it.
It's mid 2010s Nickelodeon pop. It's all meant to just be like
Yeah.
ear like slosh.
Yeah, ear slosh. That's a good way to put it.
It just like sounds like it's like you are happy, basically like
Yeah.
it's just it's Rebecca Black's Friday, just like
Yeah.
liquefied and shoved into your veins.
True. And they made a lot of money doing
Yeah.
it.
I don't know.
Good money.
I think she's done some pretty good work now, Rebecca Black.
I have not kept up with Rebecca Black.
I think she's actually a good singer now.
Is she?
I
Good.
think so.
Good for her.
I think she's doing some good stuff.
My favorite part from that time was, she was defending herself.
I mean, it's
And
Friday.
honestly, people were coming at her too hard.
Gotta
She
get
was
down on Friday.
She was a kid, and people were hating
Yeah,
so
that's-
much. Just like with Justin Bieber. People were way too cruel to Justin Bieber for no good reason.
I have a whole new respect for Justin Bieber because did you know he is behind John Cena? He's the second biggest contributor to fulfilling Make-A-Wish requests
No, really?
in the world. Yeah, John Cena's the biggest one, and
I believe that.
He's the second one. He's
Wow.
honestly about to pass him. Anytime he gets one, he does it and gives full attention to that kid.
Good, man.
And I'm like, all the other problems aside, that is fantastic.
I never disrespected Justin Bieber, and I didn't get why people did. Like I found him before, like I found him on YouTube before he was ever like a big name, and I was like, man, this little kid can sing, And that was all. Like I was like, this kid can sing, but everybody got so mad about the fact that there was this kid who could sing.
I was
and
in that crowd.
I know, and then Usher was like, taking him under his wing, and it was like this kid's trying to dance, and he wasn't a bad dancer, he wasn't a great dancer, but he was a kid. So anyway, like too much hate for him, too much hate for Rebecca Black, so good on her. But my favorite comment from that time period was Rebecca Black defending herself from the hate, and she said, I've been compared to Taylor Swift. And if you remember at the time, Taylor Swift weren't good neither. I mean, she was really bad at the time.
Well,
Yeah.
well, I hear them. The Swifties are coming.
No, she's
they're
good
coming to
now.
No,
Don't
it
get me
doesn't matter.
wrong.
Any era.
Really, seriously.
She went on an Eras tour.
I know she did.
Lock the doors.
It's just you hear a rumble and you're like, oh, no.
God. No. And you just hear, what's a good one? And you hear like, and now we go back to December. No. I know.
There's got to be a better song than that.
I know a
what it
lot
is.
more songs. I just can't remember any of them off the top of my head.
I knew You Were Trouble might be a good one. That's one people could rage to.
Now we got Bad Blood.
Oh, no. Anyway, no, at the time, she couldn't sing live. We all knew it. She's gotten better. And I never discredit her as a songwriter. She's a great songwriter. And she writes all of her own stuff, and she's been extremely successful at doing that, which is super rare in this day and age. So good on her. Anyway, welcome to the Zeitgeist Podcast.
Yes.
My name's Greg.
My name's Nick. Hey, 5-minute cold open.
Yeah.
Instead of an entire episode like
Getting
mine
better.
was.
So this one's my episode.
Yay.
And this one's going to be fun. I think it's fun. This one's a history episode. So
I like history.
buckle your seatbelts.
Did you know they have
We're
a whole
getting in the
channel
Magic
about
School
history?
Bus. The History Channel, right?
Yes.
It's also about ancient aliens, as far as I understand.
That's all it is now.
Yeah, yeah. Or finding Bigfoot. Which, gosh dang it, it's been 10 seasons. Like,
When are they going to find him?
but you gotta find him or what? You're like, at some point, you either figure it out or you quit. Anyway.
Get your shit together.
That's just an unnecessary rant. No, I'm going to talk about something that is interesting because it is one of the longest wars ever in history. And it's called the 335 Years' War. Let me say that again for the people in the back. 335 years to be at war.
That's a long time.
And the craziest part, the people at war didn't even know it. That's right. This is the longest war that never happened.
Wait.
And we're going to get into it right now. All right, here we go. So,
So it was like a Cold War?
technically, it was a Cold War. It was a bloodless conflict, but it was a war. Or was it? That's the debate. That's the theory. Okay.
I'm hooked. I'm
So,
hooked.
At a certain point in history, which was 1651, there was basically a declaration of war between the Netherlands and the Isles of Scilly, which are on the southwest coast of Great Britain. Okay, so essentially the UK and the Netherlands were at war, or declared war on March 30th of 1651. Okay? It lasted for 335 years. There were no casualties. And I'm going to actually get into the origins of this so you can have at least some kind of understanding. But I wanted to give you a little teaser, right? So at some time during the English Civil War, there was a fight between...
There was an English Civil War?
There was an English Civil War, yeah.
Shows what I know about world history.
Now, about 200 years before our Civil War, almost exactly, there was an English Civil War.
Well, like father, like son, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Or like, weird uncle, like nephew.
Are we the weird uncle?
No, they're the weird uncle.
And we're the weird nephew.
No, we're the weird nephew.
Yeah, we're the weird nephew that turned out to be worse.
Yeah, actually, stepchild. I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff in the UK to this day, but we can get into that later. Like, I will eventually want to talk about weird laws that exist in the UK from 500 years ago. They're actually kind of funny. But between royalists and parliamentarians from 1642 to 1651. So anyway, Oliver Cromwell, might recognize that name. Why? I don't know. I'm reading a Wikipedia article, and I don't remember who Oliver Cromwell is.
He sounds very familiar.
He is familiar, but he fought to the royalists at the edge of the Kingdom of England in the west of Britain, meant that Cornwall was the last royalist stronghold. In 1648, Cromwell pushed on until the mainland Cornwall was in the hands of the parliamentarians. Let me just, for context, Oliver Cromwell was a important figure in history of the British Isles. He came to prominence during the War of the Three Kingdoms, which was the English Civil War. Okay, gotcha. So he was kind of commanding the parliamentarians. We can just say that. In simple terms, English people out there commenting on our TikTok, please be gentle, okay? This is not our history.
I think Cromwell is also a common name.
It is. True. But this guy was a big deal in English history, and we didn't learn it. So, just...
So back off.
Back off. Just take your pitchforks and shove them up your... I'm just kidding.
Oi, governor. Bloody chill.
Just chill.
That went Australian there for a
Yeah, I
second.
did. All right.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
Oh, no. Oliver Cromwell pushed on until mainland Cornwall was in the hands of the parliamentarians. The Royalist Navy then retreated to the Isles of Scilly, which lay off the Cornish coast and were under the ownership of Royalist John Granville. Okay, so for context, English Civil War, Royalists were losing. They retreated to these islands off the coast of Cornwall and claimed it as a Royalist stronghold. This is where the king will take back power on these tiny little islands off the coast of the main island. I don't know. At some point, it's kind of like with Finding Bigfoot. At some point, you win or you give up. You know. Anyway,
Or you join them and get big feet,
yeah, yeah.
big
But-
shoes.
Right. That's actually that's a Wendigo. Actually, you can join them and end
Oh
up.
yeah,
Yeah. That's a great short story, by the way.
joining the Wendigos?
Algernon Blackwood, the Wendigo.
Oh yeah.
Super good short story. I read it like every October just to get in that spirit of like, ooh, spooky.
I reread the No Sleep Mold story.
That's also a great one.
Good.
Total sidebar. You remember the first time we read through that was when we were camping?
No, because I read it on the drive up there. You
Oh,
told
did
me
you?
to finish it before we got there, and it freaked me the hell out.
Yeah, and I read it while we were like camping. I
This-
had downloaded it so
This
I
was
could
the
read the whole
first
thing.
This is the first time I ever became aware of what No Sleep is. And for those who
Mm-hmm.
don't, it's a subreddit called No Sleeper. It's basically like it's another name for creepypastas. It's like
Yeah, but it's different.
stories that are made to make you think they're real, but they aren't actually real.
Right. It's different than creepypastas because they're dynamic. So, like, the people that write the story and publish it will also respond to people in the comments and give more context and stuff like that. That's what makes No Sleep special. And this was one of the first popular ones, as far as I know. But anyway, super creepy. We were camping that night, and that was the night that it just poured buckets.
Yeah, and I got the flu.
It rained for hours, and it rained so much that like our campsite flooded and the bottom of the tent flooded, and it got to a point where I literally like sat up and was like, my pillow's kind of wet. I picked it up and I poured water out of it like I was pouring it out of a jug, and I looked around and I'm like, guys, we can't stay here.
I was literally half submerged in a puddle,
It was so
like
bad.
shivering, and I can't sleep while I'm camping, so I bring. No, you gave me melatonin because
Oh, that's right.
knew I wasn't gonna be able to fall asleep.
Yeah.
And I took like a bunch, so I was like passed the fuck out, and like just laying in this cold
But you're
water.
just slowly drowning, and you're just like,
Yeah, well,
you're
why do you think
asleep?
I went home with the flu? Like
No, it
on the
must have.
drive back, I got the flu.
Anyway, the reason that was relevant to the mold story is because like it felt very much like, oh no, like this is how it starts, you know, this is how you get infected.
And that was also when we got to the campsite. We this guy walked up to the car. He was like a ranger or something, and we went to Oklahoma to camp. And we were like, "Hey, where are we supposed to go?" He's like, "Oh, you're supposed to turn around and go back where you came from. See, you're from Texas." And he
Yeah.
paused, and we got legitimately scared that
Yeah.
he was going to threaten us to
yeah.
leave.
Yep. No, I do remember that. I'm glad you like these are pieces that I miss of these stories.
I thought he was going to find us later and kill us.
Joke's on him because it was raining so hard that we left. He couldn't have found us if he tried.
Yeah, we slept in the car.
Slept in the car, yeah. Anyway, so back to how the Dutch got involved. How did the Netherlands declare war on the Isles of Scilly? And why? Well, the United Provinces of the Netherlands at the time allied with the parliamentarians. So they were assisted by the English under a number of rulers in the 80 Years' War, starting the Queen Elizabeth I. Blah, blah, blah. The English had been good to them. They wanted to support them. So on the 30th of March, 1651, Lieutenant Admiral Martin Harpertsoen Tromp.
Trump.
Like you remember
The Trump.
podcast here, the Tromp family? Those were Australians, but this is a Dutch guy.
I made the title clickbait and I
yeah.
called it Trump.
Yeah, we did. It didn't work. Nobody clicked on it. Anyway, they arrived in Scilly to demand reparation from the Royalist fleet because of the harm that they had done to the Dutch merchant navy during this civil war in England.
Okay.
A letter explains that Trump came there and related that he had been to Scilly to demand reparation for the Dutch ships and goods taken by them, receiving no satisfactory answer. He, according to his commission, declared war. As most of England was now in parliamentarian hands, war was declared specifically on the Isles of Scilly, not on England itself.
Because he didn't get his money?
So more backstory. During that civil war, there were losses in the Dutch merchant navy because of the battles that were taking place between the Royalists and the parliamentarians. And so their ships had taken losses. They had lost goods. They had lost money because they were shipping stuff to England, and it was like getting damaged and taken in battle. So he wanted reparations for that, and they were like, no. You know, the king says no.
Okay. Got it.
The king says nee, is basically what they said.
But I just watched that movie recently.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Manifesting.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, yeah, you must have done that. So, anyway, in 1651, after the declaration of war, parliamentarian forces under Admiral Robert Blake forced the Royalist fleet to surrender. The Dutch fleet, no longer under threat, left without ever firing a shot. Due to the obscurity of one nation's declaration of war on a small part of another, the Dutch did not officially declare peace at any point thereafter.
Oh.
So when the Dutch and the Commonwealth of England signed the Treaty of Westminster, the separate state of war in the Isles of Scilly was not mentioned and therefore not included in the peace treaty.
Oh.
I know. For many, many years, and I mean many, many years, they technically were still at war. It wasn't until, get this, 1986 that Roy Duncan, a historian and chairman of the Isles of Scilly Council, investigated and wrote the Dutch embassy in London. The embassy staff found that no peace treaty was ever signed, and Duncan invited the Dutch ambassador Jonker Rijn Hoydekopper, these Dutch names,
Hoydenkopper?
Hoydekopper,
Hoy, the copper.
to visit the
Hoy, it's the
It's the
coppers.
coppers. To visit the island and officially end the conflict. Peace was declared on the 17th of April, 1986, 335 years.
They just show up
after-
like, all right, everybody, calm
down,
down.
down, I got this.
Stop fighting. The lady's walking her dog like, what? Hey,
Yeah.
stop resisting.
I'm happy to declare peace between our nations.
You just hear like a guy like,
You may applaud at will.
Ray.
Thank you.
Like, oh, that's Steve. He's just drunk.
Hey. Well, I guess I'll go home.
I'm going to get drunk too.
I'll go home and fly on my Hoydecopter.
Oh my God.
So it must have been, the Dutch ambassador joked, it must have been horrifying to know that they could have attacked at any moment. You're just living your life on the Isle of Scilly, but the Dutch could come and they could, at any point, create a battle because you were technically at war. Now, here's the theory. Here's where things get interesting. All of that is history as we know it. However, in 2001, an argument was made that all of this was a legend, that Trump actually did not have a commission from his government to declare war on the rebels in Scilly, and maybe he did come to try by show of force to seek reparation for royalist piracies of his merchant ships, but short of resorting to any action which might offend the Commonwealth, even if a war had occurred, all matters pertaining would have been resolved in that treaty. So there are many books that have been written about this, and basically, sorry, go ahead.
So this is just the thing, like, one guy might or might not have actually declared war. And
Yep.
all I'm thinking of is the one scene from The Office where Michael Scott just goes like, I declare bankruptcy! And like,
Yeah.
that's all he did?
And that's basically it. That's basically what he did. He said, "Hey, you guys have been taking our ships out and taking our goods, and we want payment for it." And they said, "Neat." And he said, "Then we're going to go to war. I'm going to come back with my army." And they go, "Neat." Right? They were on their last leg. They didn't really have much else to fight for.
It's just a flesh wound.
Yeah, they're fighting for this Isle of Scilly right here, you know? So anyway, he said he's going to declare war. He goes to the Commonwealth, or to the commission to make a declaration of war. However, he didn't actually have a commission to go to, allegedly. And Graham Donald, in his book Loose Cannons, 101 Myths, Mishaps, and Misadventures in the Military History, which sounds like a blast to read, he argued that no such war could have existed because neither side was actually a sovereign nation. Tromp was just an admiral, not a nation, and Scilly was a part of England. So he describes it as a great PR coup for the island's tourist board. So basically, he thinks, and that's where the theory comes in, that our boy Roy Duncan in 1986
Go Duncan.
made this whole thing up, or at least stretched the truth a good bit, so that people would be like, "Oh, wow, the Isle of Scilly. I've never heard of it, but they were at war for 335 years and didn't know it. I'm going to check it out." All of it came down to money, from stealing the merchant navy ships and goods from the Dutch all the way to modern day, where they say there was this big war that never happened.
So basically, one guy just pouted and went to the king and was like, I want to declare war. And he was like, no.
But maybe that's the thing. Maybe he didn't even. There's no record that actually shows that he made an official declaration of war.
So maybe he just
except that he
said-
went there trying to strong arm people into giving him reparations for what they took from him.
Well, I mean, it made it 335 years in the zeitgeist.
Yeah. I'm pointing at the wrong camera every time. Just,
And the hidden ones that the government
course.
has everywhere. Like,
of course. Right
My
here,
phone.
one in my hat. Yep.
I was funny. I was like, sorry, sidebar. Like my, I was talking with a family member. I won't say names, but they're like, oh, can't. They're gonna put microchips in and always be listening and doing everything we do. I was like, you're already microchips. Like, what are you talking about? It's like you carry one everywhere you go.
Yeah.
It's listening to you. It knows everything about you.
Yeah.
And selling everything about you to someone else.
Of course.
You don't have a microchip. You're already doing it enough.
Yeah.
Carrying it with you.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right.
Soon it'll just be hands-free. It'll just be more convenient.
Tell me, there's nobody out there by now who isn't aware of that, right? That it listens in on
No,
and
old
starts giving you
people.
targeted advertising because of what you say?
Well, boomers and their
Oh.
Facebook ads.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter. You say something at some point, and immediately you start getting advertising for it, which is why I'm not on social media anymore. That also could be because I'm a millennial.
I clicked on a mirror ad on my Instagram yesterday by accident. I am sick and tired of looking at mirrors. I clicked on one ad that was about like artistic, like, oh, these cool mirrors you can buy. Now every other ad is like, we also make mirrors. We also make mirrors. Here's more mirrors. You like these mirrors? Do you want to see more mirrors? I'm like, I don't want to see any more mirrors.
You never really think about mirror retailers. They got to make a living too, but how often do you buy a mirror? I can't think of a time where I ever was like, I need to go out of my way to buy a mirror today.
The only one I've ever bought was one from IKEA. The IKEA ones that are taller, so you can
Like for my kid, yeah, I did
and
that.
I still have the one my wife bought forever ago.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like women will buy mirrors, but they'll buy weird little decorative mirrors that have like shells on them and crap. You know?
Oh, I like those kind of mirrors.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them.
I mean,
saying,
the mirror they showed me was kind of cool, but like,
that's what I'm
not
saying.
worth
It's
it.
like you get a small little decorative mirror and
It
you
was
put it
purple.
somewhere. But it's like to go out of your way to sell like the big mirrors. It's like I don't think I would ever like stop and think like I need to buy the biggest mirror today. It kind of comes with the house.
Yeah.
You got mirrors in your bathroom. If you could buy a house and it doesn't have mirrors in the bathroom, somebody died there.
What? Is that?
Almost certainly.
Oh, I thought it was like a thing. Like if you
No.
find a house with no mirrors, somebody's died there. Like it's like a urban legend.
It's not. I mean, it's not. No, I'm just saying. Like the odds are, if there ain't any mirrors in there, somebody got murdered. I don't know why. Just picture the room, picture the bathroom without any mirrors in it. It's not that big of a stretch to picture a severed arm and a bathtub full of blood right there. Because if the mirror was there, that wouldn't have happened. I don't know why, but it wouldn't. Is that the hook? Are mirrors magical? Do mirrors give you some kind of protection?
No, mirrors are scary.
That's true. Mirrors are scary.
There's a lot of superstition around them. You can't break them. You can't say Bloody Mary into them.
That's true.
You can't.
Candyman, another one.
Or like if the two-way mirror thing, you touch your finger to it, and like it touches, you see behind it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Probably a good idea to just
see, I have to
never take your penis out in front of a mirror because it could be a two-way mirror.
And I have to look at my ugly ass face every morning.
Yeah. I wonder if one were to touch a penis to a two-way mirror.
You would be arrested. Yeah,
But, like, that's a good test, right?
You're already in custody because the
Yeah,
police
that's
officer's looking at you through the two-way mirror.
You're literally just in the interrogation room. You're like, what if there's a two-way mirror? Zip, let's test.
and you hear over the intercom, stop.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. I knew it. I knew it was a two-way mirror.
And they're
You're
like-
spying on me.
You're under arrest again
Well,
for exposure, but even though we already arrested you for murder,
yeah.
literally covered in blood.
Right,
What
the
were we
ex-
talking about?
We got on. Oh yeah, somehow we got to how like they're all listening to you. We were pointing at cameras, hidden cameras, microchips, listening in, target advertisement, mirrors.
I said
Yeah.
that that knowledge has gone down 335 years. Clearly, he either had to tell a bunch of people. He's like, yeah, I totally declared war on them. We're at war.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's possible that it didn't, and it's possible that in 1986 or whatever year that was,
Well, then how would the word spread then? How would it stay in?
it didn't. That's why they didn't ever declare peace because they didn't know. It was only that they were technically at war, but nobody knew until this historian in the Isle of Scilly.
I thought it was like talked.
Like,
Okay, you're
no,
right.
he uncovered it and was like, oh wow, this Trump guy declared war.
Oh, you said
and
that
we
they didn't
never
know
had a
about it.
peace
Okay.
treaty. And then he called the embassy for the Netherlands, and they said, you're right, we didn't have a peace treaty, so let's go ahead and sign one. You know, it was all just some kind of, it was a marketing fiasco. You know what I mean?
Just a project that just didn't get off the ground. And
Yeah.
I'm just imagining this tiny island, like this lady's putting something in her mailbox, and the neighbor comes out. He's like doing something like, "Hey, Susan, are we at war?" And she's like, "I don't know. Feels like it, but I don't think so."
And then then the Dutch come and they have like long swords and they're on like wooden boats. And just Rah!
It's like, oh, we are at war.
I knew it. Well, Susan, it was nice knowing you.
Well, get your pitchfork.
Yep.
It's like, well, hope you don't mind. I'm going to loot your house now.
Yep.
He just jumps through her
We're
window.
going to go down or we're going to die trying. Here we go. Those are both the same thing. We go down or die trying. We're going to fight and probably die.
I always love the trope and like whenever the world turns to anarchy and there's like everyone's like wearing like it's all turns to Mad Max and there's the one guy that's like, I like doing this. This is fun.
Yeah, that's true.
My other life was boring. Ha, time to die.
I mean, I could do a little more excitement in my life. The Purge might be all right.
Dude, after hearing about your dreams in the last episode,
No, that's fair. That's fair.
you
That
would-
was one time.
well,
That was
you
just
would do
one.
great in the Purge.
I probably would. I would just have to learn how to fly, and then nobody could stop me.
All I know is that if a zombie apocalypse were to happen, I know I am not a survivor. I would make sure that my family, I help them get what they would like to do, and then I'm going out in a blaze of glory. I'm getting 2 katanas, and I'm running out there, and I'm chopping up and having fun as best I can. And when I'm done and I'm getting overwhelmed, I do myself in, and I will not be coming back as a zombie.
Seppuku.
Yes, I will. Well, I don't.
Sudoku.
Well, I don't like pain, so I'm just gonna shoot myself.
Ah, that's fair. That's fair.
Or like, probably if I can, drive off a cliff.
I mean, I'd probably be. This is me. Like, I'm also probably not going to survive, right? Or at least I could if I really put my mind to it. But like, I don't want to do
That's
all
not a
that.
life.
It's not life. So what I would do is like, all right, family, zombie apocalypse has gotten too bad. It's getting to the point that it's pretty much over. But you know what? No lines at Six Flags. Let's go. And we go and we ride all the rides and hit
sure they
zombies
are
on the way down.
And you got to do it before the power grid shuts off.
Right. I mean, there's a small window of time. Like, guys, we got to go Six Flags now, right? And, you know, my daughter's like, I don't want to. And, like, her shoes are on the wrong feet. And I'm like, the zombies are going to kill us or we can go ride some roller coasters. What do you want to do? You know, make it very clear, making an easy choice. And we go ride some roller coasters and then we die.
You're on the front of the Titan and you look at, and there's a zombie in the back just like, whee!
Yeah. I mean, that's what
Arm
I'm saying.
flies off.
Yeah, his head flies off.
It's like, ah.
No, that actually happened, though, on Texas Giant.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no.
I would make sure to take the zombies on the Texas Giant and have all their heads get
No,
knocked
a
off.
lady fell off out of her seat because the thing didn't click.
Oh, that I didn't know.
Well, that's the only one. That's why they closed it and renamed it.
When they tested it a
when
long
they
time
tested
ago, the dummies came back without heads because something was like too low, and they were like, let's fix that before we put people on this.
Speaking of the Netherlands, I think this was in the Nether. God, just a tongue twister.
Mm-hmm.
The you know about the water slide incident. So you know how they have water slide roller coasters where like you sit and
yeah.
like the water pushes you back up the hills.
Yeah.
Well, this was at the time the world record for the world's tallest and biggest like water roller coaster.
That's fun.
And it had the biggest drop. So in testing, the drop was so steep that the tube would fly off the thing.
Oh, no.
So what they did is they decided to put a metal grate over the top.
Oh, no.
And the family went down and it flew up and it basically just shook the kid's head, a kid's head off because it was like literally metal wire. And they were going at like 15, like pretty high speeds. It started with the
Holy
V, like
crap.
the Vanderdyk or something like that.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
How have I not heard about that?
Well, it was like because I watched defunct like theme park things.
Oh, yeah.
Defunct Land. I watched a lot of people about like
Theme park, bro.
like
Yeah.
the Smiler and Alton Towers in England. It's like a very old theme park similar to Six Flags. It's so this theme park is built on an old like castle, English castle that they converted into like a theme park.
It's kind of cool.
And they have some of the coolest roller coasters in like the world because I think one of the roller coaster designers that make a lot of roller coasters around the world is based in that area. So they debuted one called the Smiler, which was do you know the Poltergeist at Fiesta, Texas in San Antonio? That's like a big.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It is very similar to that. It's a launch coaster, and it's just like a
Gotcha.
bunch of jumble of twists and corkscrews.
Yeah.
Basically, as what happened, it was advertised as like this crazy. It makes you go crazy, and the logo was actually really terrifying with these big swirl eyes and this demented smile.
I see.
But
The
it was
Smiler.
marketed as like kind of like an analog horror back in the day. Like it was meant to be like, come to the Smiler and you'll feel better. It was like very like
I kind of love that.
What's the subliminal messaging?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool until one time there was something broke on it and the failsafe broke and one car at 60 miles an hour, and this is a ride where your legs dangle, slammed into the back of another car at 60 miles an hour and completely chopped the front row of people in half.
Holy crap!
Yeah, that ride's still open.
But they fixed that.
Yeah, but it's not called the Smiler anymore. It's just called like the X or something. But people don't really ride it because it's terrifying.
It's called the guillotine. 50% chance you die.
No, it's called the. It's called like the. I don't know. I can't. I was gonna make a body splitting in half joke, but that's in
Yeah.
bad taste.
No, that's true. Mine was also in bad taste. I can't think of like. I need to check out like the defunct theme park thing. I can't think of theme parks. I think of Roller Coaster Tycoon, and I think I've talked about it on the podcast before. But Mr. Bones Wild Ride is one of the best things I've ever seen on the internet.
I love
And
that.
yeah, it's like I just if there were ever to be like a horror movie based on Mr. Bones Wild Ride, and it's just as camp as the real like roller
Yes.
coaster thing, that would be so fun. It would be like you could make it genuinely frightening because it's like you are trapped. This is your life now, right? But if it's like a little bit silly, right? Like I think that'd be a great movie.
Just like, yeah, I think it'd be a fun like campy horror movie.
Yeah.
Like a self-aware horror movie.
And for those of you who aren't aware, Mr. Bones Wild Ride was a 8-hour-long roller coaster made in Roller Coaster Tycoon. Travels at about 1.5 miles per hour or something. Extremely slow, extremely long. The line itself, it snakes around to be about 12 hours to get through it. And the best part is when you get off the ride, it puts you right back in line to get on the ride again. So it's basically like it's just an infinite hell for Roller Coaster Tycoon patrons. And all of them will just like say in their little chat bubbles, like, I want to get off Mr. Bones Wild Ride. But they can't. And they never will. It's good fun.
It's either that or just like launching your roller coaster with like getting it.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Roller Coaster Tycoon.
But
is
that's the
another
thing. It's like
game.
it's so much more sadistic, that guy that did the Mr. Bones Wild Ride, because it's like
It's
he's just
slow
gonna let them.
torture.
They're just gonna let him suffer, And I think that was like a 4chan thing too. So those guys are
yeah.
twisted,
Oh. Yeah, 4chan. Like you think Reddit's bad. 4chan.
And there's it goes deeper than that, right? Like there's more than,
I don't know much
because
about
I think
it.
you told me about it. You were like, behind 4chan, there's like another like.
Oh, I thought you meant about Mr. Bones Wild Ride.
No.
It's like there's like lore to this.
No, I don't think so. No, but like behind 4chan, there's another like site that's even more twisted. Then you get to like the dark web, and then
Well, like 4chan basically is like a gate. 4chan is the gateway drug to the dark web. I would
see.
say, like in a way, because like the dark web is a weird. It's very much a buzzword now. It's like, oh, they found it on the dark web. It's like, no, you just found it on like some sketchy. It's basically just sketchy websites. But basically, if you don't have the right protection, which is why you use the Tor browser, which has built-in protection to go to .onion sites, which are basically hundreds of random characters, and then .onion, which is like a dark website.
okay, help me understand this then, because this is a personal
My
thing.
knowledge on this is very
No, I
beginner
know,
level,
but I'm
so-
wondering if this is what I've come across. If I get a phone call from a number I don't recognize, I go to Google and I take that phone number in quotation marks and I search.
Right.
And I always get websites that make no sense. It's all in code. It'll be just like it'll be a website and like the number is hidden somewhere in the wall of text, but in the wall of text it'll say something like
wall of text.
yeah, it'll say something like, like rabbit, redfoot, hat doesn't exist, like random stuff. And it's like, what is happening here? And I'm like, it feels like code and none of it makes any sense. And I'm like, what did I stumble across? It happens everyone try it. Maybe you shouldn't.
Maybe not.
But if you just Google a phone number
that's actually scary.
and
to
you
me.
see the website that it comes up with, any phone number, you see the website, it's gonna be like weird coded
You're
messages.
gonna need to show me this because I've never seen that before.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Okay.
Let's do it. We're doing
We
this
have a
live.
live demonstration today.
And I'll
on
read
the-
what it
on the
says
show.
too. I don't know. I'm just gonna make up a phone number here.
We don't know what's going to happen. We've heard that this man is a liar, and we've heard from very reputable sources, aka his mother, that he is a disappointment.
Fair.
He is the only. He is the. He. I was gonna say he's considered the middle child, but you actually are the middle child.
I'm one of the middle children. Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. I always forget.
Okay. That number didn't work. Hold on. Let me try it. Let me try a different one.
So. Strike one.
Well, because it definitely.
I know. I'm
it
kidding.
definitely did it.
No, I believe you. Like, oh, also I was gonna show you. If y'all like Roller Coaster Tycoon, they have, the original Roller Coaster Tycoon available on your phone to play.
Oh, that's fun. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they retooled it. Fun fact: Roller Coaster Tycoon history fact: the guy who made that program made it in ASCII, or like one of the hardest programming languages, and he made it all by hand because he wanted it to have 0 glitches, and it does have 0 glitches.
Really?
As far as I could be wrong, but it's like it's meant to be. He wanted it to be so stable that it could run on literally any device. Like at the time, like a crappy computer or a good computer, you can play Roller Coaster Tycoon. So, good job, man, who made that. You made many childhoods.
Yeah. Okay. I can't find it with any of these. I'd have to, if I find it, I'll screenshot it and I'll send it to you.
Okay, I'll put it.
There's certain
Hopefully, I
times.
put up something here.
Yeah, there's certain times where I don't know why it doesn't make any sense, and it's definitely code, and I'm like, I don't
Like
go
a
any
white
deeper than that.
page full
Yeah.
of text, like full
More
of
or
text.
less full
like,
of text, yeah.
Like no, like written out, like as in words, or just like end to end.
No, they're separate words,
Oh, so it's like
but the
written,
words
like,
make no sense.
but it's like written out in like a document.
Kinda, yeah.
Is there anything else on the page? Any other like visual elements, or is it just like a white page with words?
Sometimes there's a header that also doesn't make sense. Like, yeah,
Because if anything, it could just be like a bot website that
that's
the
what I'm
phone
thinking.
number goes through,
and it just generates random crap, and
Or
then
like-
hopes that people search for it and click on it, and
like,
then it gets ad
they
revenue.
registered that website to an IP address that's not connected to them.
That's
a
what that was my
possibility.
first thought. Was like they just want people to find this website and click on it, which I did. Right, that's how we got here. But I also wonder, is there
that's why you
something
don't have a
deeper going on?
computer.
Yeah, is there something deeper going on? Like, am I uncovering something that's like a secret, code that if I knew how to unlock it, I'd find the rest of the 80% of the internet that is, in the deep web.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been on the deep web one time, and I went to a website where you could buy credit card numbers for Bitcoin.
I hate that.
I was so tempted.
What, was it cheap?
Some of them were, yeah. Some of them were like, "Hey, this is a credit card," and they get. So it was like just like a page, like a blue. It was blue page, white text, and it had some table boxes on it, and on it it had credit card. It had like the number, like all normally like censored out with except the last 4, and then it said, "This has this much money on it. You have 2 hours to purchase and use before it gets canceled." And it had like countdown timers on them, and some of them were like thousands of dollars. Some of them were like $50, and you would get like $300 worth of spending, but you had to get like $50 worth of Bitcoin. And I was like, maybe I should try this. And then I was like, no, I would rather not die.
Because but
I'd
also
rather
it's
not.
not even that. You're just as bad as all the scammers out there. that do
Exactly.
nothing but that.
But like I can, but the thing is, be careful out there because that stuff is tempting and deceiving.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's so easy to skim a credit card. I can't even believe how easy it is to skim a credit card, dude.
Yeah.
Like-
you can tell us about the times you've done it.
No, I just know how it works.
Yeah,
It's you could use even like you can use an old school skimmer that you put on a swipe machine, right? In case somebody inserts it.
Every time I go to a machine, I like jiggle it.
Yeah, you got to test it, right? So you could use that at gas stations. That's very common. You could also use a tool like Flipper, right? I don't know if you've seen these.
Flipper.
Yeah, it's like a little like hacker tool. It's like orange and
Yes,
white.
and you load like NFC stuff on
Exactly. And so you could literally just walk by. Somebody's got a card in their wallet. Boop, got your data.
it. It's weird because I saw an ad for that where it's like, oh, you can copy like your work badge, like that, like beep beep, like to get in, and like it'll copy it onto here. I was like, what if I just stole like someone from like the NSA's work badge and just copied it and just went boop boop?
Dude, I mean, digital locks, right? You could just like boop, into anything.
It's so stupid. Like that's
Yeah.
why we have fingerprints and face IDs. So I hope you're scared as I am. If
This wasn't supposed to be about all that. This is supposed to be a silly episode about the Isle of Skilly and and the Netherlands in
Well,
their
I
war.
feel skilly.
I feel awfully skilly myself.
Feel pretty skibbly toilet.
Yeah,
Sticking out my gat for the Rizzler.
I
Anyway,
feel that. Okay.
sticking up my gat.
Yeah, sing out your balls for the baller.
Sticking out your butt for the butler.
Yeah, yeah.
Trademark. Not trademark, copyright.
Yeah.
Trademark's harder to get.
Somebody, it's already on Urban Dictionary. Somebody already stole it. We haven't even
Gooning.
posted this yet, and somebody already stole it.
Yeah. Stolen. Anyway, I don't know how to end this. You end it.
Yeah,
I
no,
quit.
just what do you guys think about the war that never happened, that lasted almost as long as any war in history? Did it happen? Did it not happen? What's your take on it? Was it all just a tourist scam to get people to go to the Isles of Scilly? Also, try to find a website that has a bunch of weird code on it. Send me information about what you find out, because I am very perplexed. I'd like to know. Don't go on the deep web. Don't buy one of those NFC scanner devices to copy people's credit card data, and just be a good person. How about that? Anyway, we'll see you
be a good
guys.
person.
Oh, sorry, almost forgot. You got to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on any podcast platform so you never miss an episode, either video or otherwise. We're going to keep putting these out. We missed a week. I'm sorry.
Technically 2 weeks.
We missed a couple weeks. I'm sorry.
We're busy.
But we're going to get back at it and make it more regular. So,
Yeah, this is not our full-time job. We have other full-time jobs and families. So
Yeah.
this is
but also Patreon if you want to make this our full-time job so we can get you more content.
we still don't have one. We can't have one. We don't have anything extra to put out.
We can make stuff.
We barely put
You
out
want a
these
hat?
ones.
You guys want a hat? First guy to
I'm
give
mad
us
at myself.
$100 on Patreon gets a hat.
$100.
Handmade by me, signed by me and Nick.
Yeah. Well, I'll sign it.
And Nick's Pokemon cologne.
What? Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I have it.
that'll be on the Patreon. If you want to
Yeah.
know more about the Pokemon
You
cologne,
can
it's
see it on the
Patreon.
Patreon.
Anyway, we'll see you next week. Bye.